Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to the first episode of Fan Focus for Anfield Index. I'm genuinely excited to do this one, people. It's a new show, a new thing we put together at Anfield Index. And it was born from the fact, something that's, I'll be honest, getting on my tits a lot at the moment. The suggestions that the online fan base is wild, it just says crazy things, and it's to be ignored a little bit, which in a fan base as big as Liverpool's, of course there's some wild takes. You know, the size of our fan base, there's bound to be some out there quote unquote takes, isn't there? But genuinely looking at recent times, I'm a match going fan as well, but there's some brilliant takes online. There's some great tweets, there's some great insight for Liverpool fans, and this is a boom period for fan media, isn't it? That's where you get the best takes, quite often better than pundits, ex-players who don't watch the Reds week in, week out. And if you're honest, you probably listen to think, what are they talking about? That's not what's happened at all. It's just sound bites or tidbits, isn't it? So this show is about the best fan media tweets, getting the takes from the big accounts, bit of nerd alert stats as well, because people love a bit of that. So the best stats and analysis that's out there at the moment, and also a little bit of what journalism around Liverpool are saying, the patch journos, because they put themselves out in that arena. So what are they saying? And with this one, more than ever, please, as much as you can, and listen, Mrs. Davis will tell you I am a shit multitasker, but throw your comments in, ask your questions. I will try my best for this fan focus to get through as many as possible. You've got that promise from me. Whether I'm successful, different take on that. We'll see what happens, but really, really looking forward to this one. So they're starting to come in as well. Neil Caldwell mentioned in there saying Verts needs to go out wide until he is ready to play in the middle. Neil, Verts 100% will be on the discussion tonight, no doubt about it. There is. I think I lagged for a second there. So this was from AI. This was the best tweet I saw. Look at this for a question that comes up. Liverpool's next 4 games. Palace in the Carabao, Wednesday. Villa on Saturday. Then Real Madrid at home in the Champions League and City away. How many wins from those 4? On one little scour down, LFC Loyal says 2. 1. Some people have got all losses, 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 win. Put it this way, when you look at that, there's not many in those next 4 have got many victories. And you can understand that as well, can't you? The way we've been playing, the run we're on, 4 defeats in the league in a row. But then you also wonder, and maybe this is too optimistic, and share your thoughts on this, could those teams almost play a style we want? They're not going to be a long ball Brentford. Villa try and play nice football. We know what football Real Madrid and City play. Could that, in a bizarre way, suit Liverpool better at this moment in time? What I mean by that is, and give your honest fan shouts, is this a case of, we're not playing set-piece teams in the next 4? Could that just work out a little bit better for us? I am just wondering that. I am torn in that. Then again, you are playing some of the best teams on the continent at the same time, and especially when you talk about Aston Villa, or talking about teams with 4. Villa have won 4 in a row in the league. We have lost 4 in a row in the league. So, yeah. I don't know. It could be brilliant, but then again, more defeats and there's more questions to ask. So that was the first major tweet to call out. Some of the major Liverpool accounts online, I think there's been some great shouts and great tweets. I wanted to go through a few of those with you. So this one came from Sam Maguire after the game. And I think this is absolutely bang on. It's not the losses that are the issue, but the manner in which we're losing. We're having to chase games early on. So plans go out of the window ASAP. And then the second half is just Liverpool lashing on as many attackers as possible to salvage something. We're literally rehashing a shit version of a Fatboy Slim tune, aren't we? Eat, sleep, concede, set piece, repeat. That has been the story of this season so far. And I think Sam's absolutely spot on with this one. That it is concede an early goal, chase the game. Arne Slot's feigned last season substitutions. This season are just lash off the attackers as possible, aren't they? I think that's fair to say. That's kind of what we expect. And just see no patterns of play. Expect to see Dominic Szoboszlai in 3 positions in game. And then, to be fair to him, still ends up being Liverpool's best player this season, doesn't he, as well? But Sam's absolutely spot on with that. And just even as a follow-up to that, Bran Barry had put as well, is even in the time, and this is true, even in the times it's worked, we've got the equaliser, which we have, we still lost, haven't we? That's been repeated as well. So it's 0 success rate, and it's still for some reason being treated as the only plausible route back into the game. Spot on there from Bran Barry. There's just repeated patterns that we're not liking at the moment. It's interesting chat panel. Quite a few in the chat panel starting to say slot out. That is something we're going to talk about very shortly as one of our major topics, but a lot of tweets around that. And in terms of analysing it, I mentioned him before, but Barry tweeted this in the week as well. People will naturally compare this to the bad spells we had under Klopp, but you could always point to the reasons for them. The 2021 defender injuries and 22-23 failing to recognise the midfield was done. Stuff that could be rectified. This isn't comparable because where do you start? I think that's fair. The 2021, I mean, was it, you will tell me, 15, 16 combinations, I think it ended up being at centre-back. Everyone remembers the famous Reece Williams, Nat Phillips duo. The 22-23, the midfield was done, wasn't it? Fabinho fell off a cliff, and we know what happened the next summer. So there was excuses, mitigation, understanding, whatever you wish to phrase it. This is a team that spent 450 million-ish. Big money. Chosen to do that. It hasn't really got an injury crisis to blame. You maybe get a bit of mitigation, understand on people bedded in. And of course, mitigation around what's happened with, the tragic passing of Diogo Jota in the summer. But you are asking questions, as Barry does there. I thought that was absolutely spot on, that tweet. Shout out to another account as well that I think's been tweeting really good stuff at the moment. Taintless Red there as well. As he put, after Palace in the Carabao, which isn't as important, the next 3 fixtures are make or break. We need to be unbeaten, but Liverpool have lost 5 out of 6 matches. If we lose to Villa and City, that will be 6 league defeats in a row. FSG might act. That's the huge question at the moment, isn't it? At what stage could FSG act? I mean, Nems LFC, they're saying, I am slotting, and I am for the moment as well. Absolutely. But there's a lot of questions and concerns mounting. And as Taylor's Red put there, if you do lose to Villa, if you go 6 defeats in a row in the league, would FSG act? I genuinely don't know the answer. Obviously, people will have thoughts on that in the chat panel and in your own mind, so feel free to share those. Interesting, Aristo4860 there says, slot subs this year have not been great. Why you put Rio in the Brentford match and not sub him in Frankfurt, which is more relaxed? I agree with that, Aristo. I thought Coyote bullied Rio and Gamoa when he came on. It proved to be completely ineffective in the wrong game for him, realistically. And also in this one against Brentford, what was more telling than the subs where we end up with Wirtz and McAllister as a double pivot, and all of a sudden the boss like right back realises it isn't working, and 5 minutes later Gomez for Wirtz and push up. Yeah, I think that was quite telling. James Hardy saying FSG might act Wednesday if we lose. Struggling to see that one, James, because I'm not saying it's a free hit, the Carabao, but it's well down the list of priorities. I think whilst we're within sight of the Champions League places, nothing's going to happen, but it does need to turn quickly at the same time. So that was, I thought, a great tweet there by Taintless Red. Thought this was a great tweet as well. Really was, by the same account. No disrespect, I hadn't really seen anything from Taintless Red, but I think there's some great tweets coming out from this one. Klopp and Rafa learned early in their first seasons that when you play certain types of teams, so back then it was Bolton, West Brom, Blackburn, etc., you needed height in defence, combativeness, second balls, intensity, directness, and then you can play and let your better quality get you a result. Absolutely spot on. I think you look at those managers and you're right, they learned that from their first seasons. And the weird thing was, Arne Slot often talked about in that first year about, the need to win more duels, more physical. And yet all the buys, the profiles were against that a little bit. And you think back to Arne Slot's first season, you do think, well, do you remember the Carabao Cup final where Newcastle ragdolled us a little bit? That was how they won that game. Surely that was a great example of one to learn from for Arne Slot. Again, people will see it differently, but they'll argue maybe it is at Arne Slot with the ultimate say in recruitment, but he's part of that process, isn't it? But those first year lessons, I'm not quite sure Arne Slot's learning them as other previous Liverpool managers did. So I thought that was a great shout at the same time. And the final one for other major fan accounts, which I saw, which a lot of people have referenced, shout out to Moby for this one. I thought this was a great tweet. All these new players we sign take time to gel. We get that. But there are teams like Bournemouth, 7 players in and now second in table. Sunderland have had 40 new players and bought, loans and all sorts, and they're 4th in the table. So what can coaches work on to integrate ours faster? It's a great question, that, isn't it? It's a great point made. If you look at Bournemouth yesterday, it was only 3 players behind the front man that were the same as last season. And look at how they're doing under Iraola. Sunderland, Regis Labris, I think it's pronounced, completely different team, different style, everything. Realise the system they need to go to, and look how it's working. Yeah, Nems, LFC, they're saying for me it's the system, players. But in terms of the new players getting used to that system, other teams that seem to be doing it better than us, don't we? Which begs that question, as Moby asked, what can we do to integrate ours quicker? There's a lot of questions there, isn't there? But big shout out to those accounts. Because as I said, there's some brilliant fan tweets going out there from Liverpool-related accounts at the moment.